Greetings. Today we're going to continue our discussion of moles, and specifically we're going to talk about molar mass. So what is molar mass? Alright, so molar mass is the mass of 1 mole of a substance. Doesn't matter what it is. The molar mass of calcium, for example, is 40.078. The molar mass of chlorine is 35.453. The molar mass of aluminum, 26.981538. How about that? It doesn't matter what the substance is. How can I find that molar mass? Where was I getting that from? I just have all that in my head? No, I use my cheat sheet. My cheat sheet is awesome because I can always rely on my cheat sheet. And where's my cheat sheet? There's my cheat sheet. All right, so basically what I do is I simply go ahead and look at my periodic table. I find what substance it is that I want to look at. Iron, for example, and I look over here. For our purposes, we are going to round everything to 4 significant digits. So 55.847 rounds to 55.85. Okay? And this number is in grams. It is the number of grams in 1 mole. So in 1 mole of iron, it's 55.85. What does it mean? That in that amount, that number of grams, there's 6.022 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. So I can look at another one. I can look at calcium, for example, and calcium says 40.08. So it is 40.08 grams in 1 mole, per mole. All right, and I can do another example. I could do chlorine right over here. In 1 mole of chlorine atoms, the mass of 1 mole of chlorine atoms is 35.453. So I'm going to go to 35.45 grams in 1 mole. All right, so now, molar mass of a compound is the combined molar mass of all the atoms in the compound. And I'm going to show you an example of how to calculate. It says NaCl, and NaCl, I'm going to write Na, and I'm going to say 1 mole of Na times, because I only have 1 here, 1 mole of Na is equivalent to the mass of sodium, which is 22.98. I'm going to round that off to 4 significant digits. That's 23.00 grams over 1 mole, and that's going to give me 23.00 grams per mole. Now, moles cancel, as you already know, and I just get 23.00 grams. Then I have Cl, which is, I'm going to say it is also 1 mole, because I only have 1 here, times the mass of chlorine, which is 35.45 in 1 mole, and that's equivalent to 35.45 grams. Notice that the moles cancel, and now I add 4 grams, 8. So there's the molar mass of NaCl, 58.45 grams. So let's try another example. We're going to figure out the molar mass of calcium hydroxide. So, first thing I have to do is to write the formula of the compound. And here's the formula of the compound. Calcium is +2 charge, hydroxide, -1 in charge, there's cross, so that's going to come out 2. So let me rewrite it correctly without the charges, and there it is. So that's my formula of calcium hydroxide. Now I can go ahead and figure out the molar mass. Remember how we do it? follow this format because that way it will minimize errors. Calcium. How many moles of calcium do I have here? 1 mole. So I'm going to say 1 mole of calcium. And I'm going to multiply this times the molar mass of calcium, which is equal to 40.08 per mole in 1 mole. So that's equivalent to 40.08 grams. Left the 8 off. All right, so now I look at here, and remember that this is like math. Whenever you have a 2 in a parentheses, these entities here will multiply times 2. So for every formula, I have 1 mole of calcium, 2 moles of oxygen atoms, and 2 moles of hydrogen atoms. So I need to be able to make sure that I include that. So I'm going to say I have 2 moles of oxygen times the molar mass of oxygen is 16.00 grams over per mole. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 16 equals 32.00 grams. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go with hydrogen. And hydrogen, there are 2 moles. So 2 moles of hydrogen atoms times 1.008 grams per 1 mole. And I'm going to multiply that, and that comes out to here 2.016 grams. When I cancel out my moles, just like here, moles cancel, moles cancel, moles cancel, moles cancel, and that's why I have this number right here. All right, so now remember that, well, we'll show you that in a minute. 6, 1, 0, 4, 74.016. But remember that we're going to round according to the correct number of significant digits. So I'm going to say 74.02 grams. That's the molar mass of calcium hydroxide. I'm going to box in my answer, and I'm done with that. All right, let's try this one now. Another example. Aluminum sulfate. You have to write the formula. Aluminum, charges +3, sulfate, SO4, -2, -2, crisscross, 2 goes over here, 3 goes over here. I'll rewrite it without the charges. Al2, SO4, parentheses 3. So now this is just a little bit more complex, but it's doable. So I'm going to set it up for you, and I want you to work it out, and then I'll give you the answer. Aluminum, 2 moles of aluminum in a mole times the mass of aluminum, which is 26.98 grams per mole. I'm going to set it up. Sulfur. How many sulfurs do I have here? I have 3. Notice there's a 3 in the parentheses, so 3 sulfurs. 3 moles of sulfur multiplied times the molar mass of sulfur, which is 32.07 grams per 1 mole. Moles cancel, moles cancel, moles cancel, moles cancel. I'm going to end up with grams over here. And finally, I'm going to calculate the mass of oxygen. I have 4 oxygens, but 3 in total. So 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to say oxygen, 12 moles times the molar mass of oxygen, which is 16.00 grams per 1 mole, equals 2 grams. Pause and do your calculations. So now I did my calculations and I came out with aluminum 53.96 grams and sulfur 96.21 grams and oxygen 192.0 grams, and for a grand total, when I added, of 342.17, but we agreed that we are going to round 342.2 grams is the molar mass of aluminum sulfate. So now, follow me to the lab. I'm going to show you how to do the same in the lab, counting by weighing. So in the last podcast, I counted by weighing elements. But now I'm going to count by weighing a compound. So in one of the problems that we did was sodium chloride. We figured out the molar mass of sodium chloride. In other words, the mass of 1 mole of units of sodium chloride, and we determined that it was 58.5 grams. So now, let's see what 1 mole of sodium chloride looks like. There we go. 58.5 grams. This is how much sodium chloride, 1 mole of sodium chloride is 58.5 grams. And in here, we have 1 mole of sodium chloride units. We call them formula units because it is an ionic compound. We don't call it molecules because it's really not a molecule. Ionic compounds form formula units. It's a different unit. We'll get to that a little later. But the point is that in here, we have 1 mole of NaCl. See you later.